Well, I just acquired the Carlton report, a typed copy. Now, it says property of, and I can't read that word there. TR something ING. So you decipher that and let me know. Down here it says Brigham Young, born, etc. I'm going to focus on the crime scene. So this brewer wrote a book called Vengeance at Last, which is hard to find, but I have a copy of that. It's sort of a, I guess we'd call it a fictional account of the party as it moved across the plains and came down into Mountain Meadows. It says there were 40 heads of families, a doctor, respectable people, well-to-do in the world, were well-dressed, were quiet, orderly, genteel, had fine stock. 3 special carriages, one of which had peculiar construction of the carriage and its ornaments, a blazoned stag's head on the panels. This carriage, he says, is now in possession of the Mormons. Brigham Young wound up with it. So from here, where the memorial is, up to where this hand is, this is Hamblin's, that's 4.6 miles in a straight line. And right in here, there's that 1.5 mile mark, and this area marks the rim of the basin. So that's that funny little euphemism of taking a Gentile over the rim of a basin. So the waters flow this way, along this edge, or down this way towards the Santa Clara River. So that dot represents 1.5 miles, and the text says, where their bones were mostly found of the males is 1.3 miles roughly. I'm paraphrasing here. Here there is a grave where Captain Campbell's command buried some of the immigrants' remains. The next point is given where the women and children were found as 1 mile, 1,135 yards. I've reset this at 1.25 mile. So 1.6 miles where the women and kids would be up in here. Everyone starts running this way, running back towards the men, which are in this area. We have a small ditch in here, a small little drop off in here, and then this small wash here, where we believe the Dunlop girls were. We've got Albert standing on a hill, looking down, claiming he saw Indians down here, further towards camp, hiding in the bushes with the train coming up the road. And Albert says, I would like to know what the immigrants left their wagons for, as they were going to get into a worse fix than ever they saw. The women were on ahead with the children, the men were behind. The Indians pitched right into them and commenced shooting them with guns and bows and arrows and cutting their throats with knives. The men run in every direction. The women and children saw the Indians spring out of the bushes, and they all cried out so loud that John and I heard them. 2 girls run up the slope towards the east about 1/4 mile. John and I ran down and tried to save them. The girls hid in some bushes. A man, who is an Indian doctor, also told the Indians not to kill them. The girls came out and hung around him for protection, he trying to keep the Indians away. The girls were crying out so loud. The Indians came up and seized the girls by their hands and dresses and pulled and pushed them away from the doctor and shot them. By this time it was dark, and the other Indians came down the road and had got nearly through killing all the others. They were about half an hour killing the people from the time they first sprang up upon them from the bushes. That's about the only true statement I think he made in there. So the Dunlop girls would, in my opinion, probably come up in here, because you can see where it's darker. So yeah, I assume the original wagon road was probably right here. This is dropping off, right? So this would follow the edge of the rim. I've skewed this over. This elevation is about 59.20, and this is like 58 to 70. So you got a 50-foot rise in here. So Albert had to be in here. So they run Small drop, all uphill, small drop. Just remember, most of the Indians are Mormons. Yeah, there were some Indians there, but all of the Mormons were Indians. But, you know, this is the crime scene. All of this is the crime scene. It needs to be made part of a National Historic Park. All that stuff on the left, those farms, need to be bought out, and this area on the side of the road needs to become part of this National Historic Park. So you can't have all this farming in this national monument or park all together. It's not going to be both. It's not either and. It's either or, and this is the or that needs to go away.